Hello humans, I'm Yoshiller. I'm a very passionate Nintendo fan, and like most passionate Nintendo fans, I thoroughly enjoy Super Smash Bros. I have all sorts of merchandise in my room that I have collected from various events, and I commonly upload videos of the game. But I can't help but feel that other members of my family just don't understand what the hype is all about. So, to try and fix this problem, I'm going to try and explain what all the hubbub is regarding this amazing franchise. If you've never even seen Super Smash Bros. Before, well, then this video is tailored towards you. Super Smash Bros. Is a franchise that began back in 1999. The idea was to include Nintendo's most popular characters and have them fight against one another. Though, despite being a fighting game, it's also a Nintendo game, so for the most part, it's family friendly. Some of Nintendo's most popular franchises include Super Mario, The Legend of Zelda, and Pokemon, and characters from these franchises are playable in Super Smash Bros. There are even some characters that may not necessarily be too recognizable, but that character may have been culturally important to many people. As a result, this game has quite an expansive roster that has expanded more and more as the years have gone by. The two most recent games are Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, both released in 2014. They are named after the game systems for which they were released. These two games were developed simultaneously, with the Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS version being the first Super Smash Bros. Game on a handheld, while Super Smash Bros. For Wii U is the first Super Smash Bros. Game to be displayed in high-definition quality. These games feature the same set of characters, and they both have a number of similarities, but despite being developed and released near the same time as one another, they both have a considerable number of differences, making each game its own unique Super Smash Bros. Game. A majority of the footage that you shall see in this video is mostly from the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U version, also known as the console version. In Super Smash Bros., the goal of the game is to choose a character, play against somebody, choose an arena, and then knock the player off of the arena by any means possible. Each character is uniquely different. In recent times, there are more than 50 playable characters in Super Smash Bros., and every single one of them plays differently. Every character has his or her own attacks and abilities, and you must use these abilities to try and knock your opponents off of the stage. And once again, every single character in this game has appeared in at least some sort of other popular and or iconic video game in the past. These characters are made to replicate their playstyle from their original games, and as a result, the list of playable characters becomes more and more diverse. However, in order to fully utilize the capabilities of each fighter, certain conditions must be performed while fighting. Different attacks in the game can be performed based on the combination of buttons that are pressed into a video game controller. Each character has standard attacks, which are essentially punching and kicking attacks, but then each character also has special attacks. Special attacks, for the most part, are attacks that are unique to that character that utilize that character's abilities. So for example, Mario's special attacks include shooting fireballs and spraying water at people. Characters can also use these attacks to recover back onto a stage and or to reflect attacks back at opponents. Different attacks deal different amounts of damage, and then the amount of damage that is dealt to the opponent is calculated at the bottom of the screen. A person's damage is calculated in the form of a percent figure. If your percentage is at 0, it means that you have not yet been damaged. But each time you're damaged, your percentage is increased. The higher your percentage gets, the further you'll fly when you're attacked. The idea is that you want to keep your percentage as low as possible while keeping your opponent's percentage as high as possible. When your opponent is at a high percentage, that's your chance to strike your opponents and knock them off of the stage. Thus, you'll become the victor. The last person remaining on the stage is the winner. And thus, a fighting game featuring Nintendo's most iconic characters is created. But, although these games feature lighthearted characters such as Mario and Pikachu, and I'm assuming you know who those characters are, these games also feature some more serious and aggressive characters. All in all, this game has a serious tone, but the developers of these games are still faithful to the source material. The thing that makes Super Smash Bros. What it is the fact that each character feels like how they should be. Mario feels like Mario. Pikachu feels like Pikachu. Donkey Kong feels like Donkey Kong. There are even some more unknown characters such as Marth, and yet you can just tell that he feels like Marth. In addition to having unique attacks per character, each character also features unique assets. Mario and Pikachu are speedy characters whose attacks hurt players in quick succession, whereas characters such as Donkey Kong are slower, but Donkey Kong's attacks are more powerful. With a roster of over 50 characters, there's bound to be a character to fit anybody's playstyle. Some characters do feature some similarities, some more so than others. But let me assure you, every character in this game is different. And there's also a great, huge, diverse set of characters as well. There are plumbers, there are Pokemon, there are boxers, there are sword fighters, there are ninjas, there are spellcasters, there are psychic wielders, there are racers, there are pilots, there are warriors, and there are many, many other types of fighters that I don't have time to list right now. Some characters can shoot electricity, while others can play with fire. Some characters can fight with their bare hands, while others fight using a variety of weapons. Some characters are better on the ground, while others are better in the air. Some characters are great at recovering, while others are not so great at recovering. Some characters can attack enemies from far away, while other characters need to be more up close. You must learn your character and your opponent's character in order to succeed, and you must come up with your own strategies using the available attacks and abilities that are given to you. And of course, choosing the right fighting arena is an important step in assuring your victory. There are more than 40 available stages in the game, each diversely different than one another. A majority of these stages come from other Nintendo games, and the goal of each stage is to properly represent the game that it's from, while also ensuring that you have a unique experience on that stage. Some stages are hectic and chaotic, and they are just meant for you to have fun with your friends, whereas other stages are more competitive, meant for more serious matches. Additionally, if you like the background or the music of a stage, but you don't want to have all of those gimmicks involved with it, then you can select the form of a stage known as an Omega form. An Omega form makes the stage completely flat, and it removes all hazards from the stage. Every single stage in the game has an Omega form, so that way you have plenty of variety when choosing a stage. I should also mention that music is an important part of the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. Since this game combines Nintendo's most iconic games and characters, naturally, it combines Nintendo's most iconic songs as well. More than 500 songs exist in Super Smash Bros., and more than 300 of these songs have been arranged just for the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. And these are songs that can range from being rock and roll, to jazz, to swing, to dance and pop, to orchestrated, The world's greatest video game composers and remixers have all come together to create one of the best video game soundtracks ever. In fact, every single song that is being used in this video comes from Super Smash Bros. So if you like what you hear, then you like Super Smash Bros. Music. Now, there's obviously more to this game than just fighting against friends and listening to music. As with most Nintendo games, there are a ton of ways to play this game. In the event that you don't have access to an internet connection, an extra controller, or a friend with whom you can play, there are single-player modes. These are modes that cater to one person only, though most of these can be played with a friend. Throughout the series, the main single-player mode of these games has been known as Classic Mode. Now, I previously mentioned that there are two versions of Super Smash Bros. That were released recently, and they do have differences in how this mode works. Both versions have a similar premise, which is to defeat a set number of characters on a screen and get all the way to the end and fight against the crazy duo of Master Hand and Crazy Hand. In the 3DS version, players choose a path, with each path being labeled as easy, medium, or hard. Different paths offer different rewards, but you don't know what your challenge is going to be until you select it. In the Wii U version, every challenge is seen from the get-go, as everything is laid out on a large map. You can see who your opponents are, and you can see what the stage shall be. It's up to you and your own instinct to decide which challenge you'd like to take on. Also, before selecting Classic Mode, you can wager in-game currency, which is simply referred to as coins. You can play on higher difficulties to score more rewards, but doing so is awfully risky. You can also play another single-player mode known as All-Star Mode. In All-Star Mode, you play against every single character in the game based on the years in which those characters were created. You fight each character in a set, and each set consists of around 7 characters at a time. And after each battle, you keep the amount of damage that you've received. You only get a limited number of healing items, and it's up to you to determine when you want to use those healing items. So, do you think you can defeat 50 plus characters using a limited set of healing items? It's up to your own judgment skills to determine how far you think you can make it. In the 3DS version, All-Star Mode has you fight against the earliest and oldest of characters first, and you slowly make your way to fighting against the new ones. So you'll fight the most classic of characters first, such as Mario and Pac-Man. In the Wii U version, you do the opposite. You'll start by fighting the newest and youngest of characters first, and you'll slowly make your way to fighting the veterans of Nintendo. Both versions provide a fair challenge, and winning earns you various rewards. Most notably, you'll receive a trophy. Trophies act as this game's form of a collectible. Trophies provide descriptions of different characters in different video games in Nintendo's history. Trophies are earned by clearing different tasks throughout the game, and some can only be obtained via the classic and all-star modes of Super Smash Bros. There are over 700 different trophies, each with a unique description and character pose. For perfectionists and completionists, this provides a fun challenge. And if you want another challenge, there is a mode exclusive to the Wii U version known as Special Orders. In Special Orders, you'll perform various tasks that are given to you on the spot. If you succeed in the task, you'll be given a reward. If you fail, you'll be penalized. Special Orders come in two forms, Master Orders and Crazy Orders. In Master Orders, players are able to choose from a list of 3 challenges, and players can back out at any time. A player can simply choose a challenge, complete it, take the reward, and leave. Whereas, in Crazy Orders, players are locked in and must complete a set number of challenges within a given time limit. The challenges are about the same difficulty between each version. But Crazy Orders features an additional difficulty of completing each of these challenges in rapid succession. If you succeed, you'll receive more rewards than you would in Master Orders, but it is a much trickier mode. If you want to try another type of challenge, the Wii U version also features event matches. Event matches are challenges that are forever locked within the game, and the player has an infinite number of tries to see if that challenge can be completed. If a challenge is completed, then the player earns a reward and the opportunity to take on many other challenges. For these challenges, players are not penalized if they lose, and they are instead given high rewards and tons of in-game coins if they succeed. These in-game coins can be used to wager on other modes, or they can be used to earn more trophies. One of the most entertaining ways to earn trophies is through a mini-game called Trophy Rush. In Trophy Rush, players get to bust open several blocks in a limited amount of time, and certain boxes have trophies within them. The player can play this mode as long as he or she would like, as long as that player has enough coins. To loop things back around real quickly, I still haven't really discussed everything that can be done with the game's main multiplayer mechanics. Obviously, the main point of this game is for you and your friends to play against one another. You can essentially choose to play the game any way that you'd like, as you can choose your own rule set. And if you want to spice up your game some more, you can use items. Different items have different qualities. Some items are used to slam your opponents off of the screen, while other items are meant to pull them more toward the center. Other items can summon characters from other video games to aid you in battle. Obviously, not every single Nintendo character in existence is playable in this game, but a large quantity of these characters can appear as some sort of summoning character. The most unique item in this game is known as the Smash Ball. The Smash Ball is a floating glowing ball that can randomly appear on a stage. Players must attack it, and whoever breaks it first will be given the opportunity to perform a super attack, which is known as a Final Smash. Almost every single character in the game has a different Final Smash. Some characters do have similar Final Smash attacks, but a majority of them function differently, so it's important to know how to use them and how to dodge them. Now, there's another important thing to note about the game's multiplayer modes. In the previous versions of Super Smash Bros., up to 4 people could play simultaneously. However, in the Wii U version, now up to 8 players can play at once. The game supports more controllers than any other action game, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find controllers that are compatible with the game. This way, you can utilize the feature and play a massive variety of different types of battles! However, only particular stages are available when this many players are playing, and you can't play with 8 people online. You can only play with 4 people online. The reason for this is because Super Smash Bros. Attempts to continuously display high-definition graphics that constantly run at a smooth 60 frames per second. The game is supposed to be quick, and the game doesn't want you to sit around and wait for too long. The game wants to have a steady flow. So, certain stages are taken out of play due to having too many visuals that may potentially slow down the game when 8 people play at the same time. However, it's still a chaotic frenzy on the stages that you do have available to you. I also previously mentioned that you can choose a variety of rule sets within this game. Those rules also apply to these 8-player matches, and notably, you can choose to do team matches within the game. If you want to have players on a set team, you can do 8-player team matches with any combination that you'd like. So you can do 2v2v2v2, 4v4, 3v3v1v1, or whatever else you can think of. You can also make it so that your attacks damage your teammates or don't damage your teammates. This game aims to make all players happy. You have a lot of freedom with your rules, so you should definitely find a rule set that you like. I should also mention that, while waiting for a match, the game will actually teach you about different mechanics and tips that exist within the game. It's a fun way to learn some more information while you wait for a match to begin. So, while loading screens are generally quick for this game, you can still have something to do while you wait for your match to start. I'm almost done explaining the major mechanics of this game, but there is a major mechanic that I haven't even brought up yet. I still have to talk about Amiibo. Amiibo was a product line launched by Nintendo in 2014, and every single character in Super Smash Bros. Has an Amiibo. So, you can go to a toy store or an electronics store and you can find one of these Amiibo. While it looks like nothing more than a collectible figure, each character has something unique about them. Every Amiibo figure has a specific use with Super Smash Bros. Each one is programmed with a chip inside, and using near-field communication, or NFC, technology, a player can use one of these Amiibo by simply tapping the character onto your controller. It's that simple. You just tap the character into the game. Each Amiibo figure has a special use with different Nintendo games. Some of them will give players access to special levels or special unlockables within a video game. One Amiibo figure can work with dozens of games. Specifically, in Super Smash Bros., Amiibo are programmed with the intention of defeating a player using artificial intelligence, and they'll fight using a tag that says FP, which stands for Figure Player. Initially, Figure Players will start off with little to no intelligence, but since their intention is to defeat you, they'll grow smarter and smarter. They'll learn about how you play, and they'll try to counter every attack you perform. Eventually, a Figure Player can become extremely advanced, and you can save the Figure Player's data to your Amiibo figure. So, these Amiibo figures function as training buddies, and you can bring your Amiibo figure to your friend's house to compete against your friend's Amiibo figures. So, people enter these Amiibo figures into tournaments. Some people work real hard to train them, and some have had interesting results. These Amiibo figurines have sold over 8 million units in a little over 8 months. So, whenever you see people waiting outside of a Target store or a Best Buy store early in the morning, chances are they're trying to purchase a new Amiibo figure. It's that serious. And Super Smash Bros. Isn't the only game to have Amiibo figures either. There are tons of Amiibo figures that are soon to come. It's just that, at the moment, Super Smash Bros. Is the most popular game to utilize them. Whew. I've been talking for quite a while now, haven't I? There's a lot of stuff that I haven't even yet discussed, but my main goal was to discuss the basic ideas of Super Smash Bros. And even then, that still took a while. Anyway, I think that I've touched upon every major aspect that can be found within the most recent Super Smash Bros. Games. So, why is there such a dedicated following surrounding this franchise? What's the big deal? Why did I need to make a video about this franchise specifically? Why is everybody collecting all of these Amiibo figures? What does it matter? Well, look at it this way. This is everyone's dream game. You know how big of a deal it is that we're getting a Superman vs. Batman movie soon? You know how big of a deal it is when a new Avengers movie is released? You know how big of a deal it was that Family Guy crossed over with The Simpsons? Nintendo invests a lot of time and money into Super Smash Bros. In order to ensure that everything is perfect. And the reason Nintendo does this is because they know that everyone loves crossovers. But it's not just one crossover, it's dozens of crossovers. People want to see the Super Mario Bros. Interact with these spellcasters. People want to see these robotic characters meet with these characters from the past. And it would be so easy to just throw these characters in a video game. But the reason that Super Smash Bros. Is so well received is because each character stays true to himself or herself. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Mario feels like Mario. Donkey Kong feels like Donkey Kong. All 50 plus characters in the game feel like they should. They move like they should. They attack like they should. They act like they should. Every single character is different because every single character is special. A game like this is a big deal to a lot of people. The creator of the Super Smash Bros. Franchise is known as Masahiro Sakurai, who famously created the video game franchise Kirby and who famously directed the critically acclaimed game Kid Icarus Uprising. Masahiro Sakurai is not only a guy that creates video games, but he appreciates them. He constantly puts his life on the line to ensure that he is able to create the game that he envisions. In addition to all of this, he does his best to connect with his fans. When Super Smash Bros. Was in development, Sakurai decided to take the time out of his busy schedule to post a screenshot of development every single weekday. He would also take the time to write articles for magazines and newspapers so that he could explain the production process, and he would commonly engage in interviews just to answer questions from fans. He was very connected with social media, and he was very determined to please as many fans as possible. He was as passionate at creating games as we are at playing them. He not only created a video game franchise, but he also marked significant moments in gaming history. And during development of Super Smash Bros., players tend to anticipate announcements regarding the franchise. Sakurai and his development team know this, and they are extremely quiet about what characters shall be playable and what stages shall appear. So instead, they tried to build upon the hype by releasing trailers every month that would showcase new modes, new characters, new features, all that stuff. I'm not kidding when I say one of the most hypest moments of being a Nintendo fan is when Super Smash Bros. Is in development. These trailers may have been released in a scarce manner, but each one is still amazing. These trailers hold up incredibly well, and to this day, almost every single trailer has well over 1 million views. Masahiro Sakurai also took his own time to create 3 different video presentations for Super Smash Bros. Just so he could answer questions and explain some of the upcoming mechanics, because as I've demonstrated so far, there's a lot of stuff in Super Smash Bros. And each of these presentations was nearly 40 minutes, and yet he still had a lot of stuff that he intentionally kept as a secret. And in 1 year, we got 2 versions of Super Smash Bros. That both feature a significant amount of detail. Both versions received several awards and high review scores, and both versions are commonly being played on a daily basis. Super Smash Bros. Is a dream game with a lot of effort put into it. While it may look like it's some sort of crazy marketing scheme that Nintendo is trying to pull off, it's really just Nintendo's thank you game to fans that have stuck around for so long. It's not just a video game franchise that was trying to earn a lot of revenue. It's a video game franchise that was made by a passionate team of developers for gamers of all types. That's why a lot of people love and adore Super Smash Bros. But okay, if all of that was too complex for you, then here's a bit of a simplified explanation of Super Smash Bros. Allow me to have one of my friends explain it in simpler terms.
What's up, guys? So basically, Smash Brothers is this game right here. This game right here, you see it? You see it? This game right here is about Nintendo characters fighting Nintendo characters, and you can have like characters like you have Mario from Super Mario games. You can have Sonic from the Sonic games. You can have Mega Man from the Mega Man games, and you can have Pikachu, my favorite, from the Pikachu games. And then they fight, and you have to win. You have to hit them off the stage. It's pretty fun. It's fun for the whole family. You can have 4 players. No, wait, on this one you can have 8 players. And you fight, and you have to buy these. These are Amiibo. Do you see the Amiibo? These are Amiibo, and if you have the Amiibo, they're like replacing your friends, so you don't have to have friends to play video games. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Woo!
Hey, thank you very much for watching this video. If you're new here, then please allow me to give you a quick rundown of things that you can do right now. I post new videos every single day at noon Pacific time. On the weekdays, I usually post walkthroughs and let's plays and all that good stuff. And on the weekends, I usually post online matches with friends and fans. However, I also create all sorts of other videos. If it's Nintendo, then I'll probably do something related to it. So, if you'd like to show me your support, you can click the like button on this video. Or you can leave a comment telling me what you think about the video, or you can leave a request. If you want to see more content from me, then please feel free to click the subscribe button to see all of my latest content. You can also follow me on Twitter. My tag is @RealYoshiller, because Yoshiller was taken. Right now, there's also a bunch of videos on the screen. If you click one, you'll be redirected to a video or a playlist. Like I said, I create all sorts of Nintendo-related content, so chances are, if you watch this video, there's something that'll catch your interest. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys around in the future. Bye-bye, humans! Whoosh!